Good morning once again, my dear sisters and brothers. I hope you are doing well, and I hope that despite feeling sleepy, you are very interested in listening and coming here today for this Mass. And I hope that you were not forced to come today as early as 7:30 to hear the Eucharistic celebration, especially our young people who are here today. Are you happy when you were coming here? While you were traveling, did you tell yourself, I'll be going there because I'm excited to go to Mass? Masaya po ba kayo papunta dito? Yes, thanks God. And if not, I hope that you will be happy knowing that the Mass reminds us of how good God is and God will be. Why am I telling you, my dear sisters and brothers, about this? Because I would like you to know that our following of God must not become a burden and even a source of anxiety for all of us. It should not make us say that we are tired. It's very cumbersome. No, it's really giving me a lot of burden to come to church, because once you become like that, then there is something wrong with your way of relating with God. And that is actually the very wrong thing of the thing that's happening in our gospel today. Why? Because the Pharisees were known to be really very good at the law. They memorized the law, 600 plus precepts of the law. 10 commandments broken into 600 something. That's a lot to memorize them. That's why for them it becomes a burden, because they needed to follow all of them. But sometimes following them makes them feel very anxious and afraid. Is it good to be afraid? Yes. But when you fear something, especially when you fear God, that fear of God must be a product of love. No? It's good to fear, but your fear must be an effect of your loving of God. Kaya kung in love kayo sa Diyos, that's the time that you start to fear Him, di ba? Because when you fear God and then you become in love, then I think there's something wrong about it. When you come here today, when you woke up early and you started to say, I fear God because I'm afraid of going to hell, then that concept of faith is very wrong. That's why each time you go to Mass, each time you pray, your first motivation should be because you are in love. Because people who are in love starts to fear, because fear again is an effect of our loving God. Kaya kung in love kayo, matakot kayo. At kung natatakot kayo, that's why you find ways to be with God and to relate with God. I think my dear religious sisters who are here thinks that way. I hope that you were in love first. That's why you fear God now. Because if that's not the thing, then something is wrong with our approach of God. Don't be like the Pharisees who memorized a lot, who learned a lot, but feared a lot at the same time without loving. My dear sisters and brothers, there is one thing that I would like you to remember in today's Mass, and that is remembering the Christian hierarchy of things. In the Christian hierarchy of things, God's mercy and compassion. No? God's mercy and compassion. That is providing for the need. No? Man's most basic need stand above the law of Sabbath. No? What does it mean? In our gospel today, Jesus was giving an example. He is telling us actually today that He is more powerful than the law that He gave us. That's why He gave an example. Remember David, when they became hungry, they ate the bread at the temple reserved for the priest. Jesus never said that they sinned because they took something that's reserved for the priest. No. But He said, the hunger of every person must be addressed when it is being felt by someone. That's why our going to church must make us better persons. Our coming to church, our prayers, our masses heard must convert us to become better persons. Otherwise, you will just become like the Pharisees who memorize the law, who likes the law, but have not actually been converted by the law that's been passed on to you. Becoming more loving is God's challenge for most of us today. Just imagine, no, with the many number that we have today, no, I think there's a lot of us today in the Mass. If most of us, if not all, would be converted and would become more loving, how much good can we contribute to the church and to the society in general? Let us try to be good. No, that's why I would like you to remember before leaving today, before going home, I would like you to remember the difference between mabuti and mabait. But I will go first with mabait na tao because there is a lot of difference between being mabait and being mabuti. A person who is mabait is a person who does not do any bad thing. They go early, they don't drink, no liquor, they don't smoke, they don't do drugs, they don't become late. Those are mabait na tao. But a mabait na tao is mostly people who are following laws, following rules. Outside the law, they could not do anything. And that's what the Pharisees are. Mabait sila because they don't do anything bad. But they could not also do anything good for others. That's why the challenge today is to become mabuti. That's why Jesus is called the Good Shepherd. Why? He's not just mabait because a mabuting tao is a person who follows the law and at the same time would do something even if the law is not present, even if commands are not there, even if eyes are not looking. A mabuting tao would continue to do something good for the benefit of others. And that's what God is trying to teach us, to become mabuti so that others may benefit from the goodness that we have done, not just following the law strictly, but actually doing things, the very good things, even if we don't follow laws. I hope, my dear brothers and sisters, that our Blessed Mother will always be our guide today. Our Blessed Mother was not just following the law. She kept everything in her heart. She was very obedient to God because she was in love with God. That's why she said yes in the many things, even in the most difficult things, because she was in love with God. And that love created fear in her heart, fear not to obey the God who made her.